Well, Biden's corrupt Department of Injustice, I guess, is corrupting again. Attorney General Merrick Garland now risks being held in contempt of Congress, much like Barack Obama and his predecessor Eric Holder was. This is after the DOJ informed House Republican that it has no plans, none at all, to hand over the audio of Special Counsel Robert Hur's interview with Joe Biden for their classified documents investigation. Now, in a letter to Representative James Comer and Jim Jordan, the Justice Department is doubling down on not cooperating, saying, quote, the committee's reaction is difficult to explain in terms of any lack of information or frustration of any informational or investigative imperative given the department's actual conduct. Well, if that wasn't approved by some talking head, spare me. We are therefore concerned, they go on, that the committees are disappointed not because you didn't receive information, but because you did. What? That is like talking in a circle, but they didn't get anything they asked for. They asked for the audio tapes. Chairman James Comer responded in another letter saying, quote, the Biden administration does not get to determine what Congress needs and does not need for its oversight of the executive branch. Why shouldn't the American people be able to hear the actual audio of his answers? The American people demand transparency from their leaders, not obstruction. Kind of makes you wonder what they're hiding if they don't want us to hear it. Trump 2024 National Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt. All right, Caroline, this to me, I'm like, they demanded every single tape from Trump, every single phone call he ever had, every single time for everything. And there was never anything there, but they impeached him for it anyway. Why can't we have the same transparency?
Well, that's because Merrick Garland has completely weaponized our Justice Department. He is a henchman for Joe Biden. He is protecting him. The transcript in the Hur report was incredibly damning to Joe Biden. Not only did it prove that he committed multiple crimes taking classified documents when he was vice president of the United States, despite having no authority to do that, it also suggested that Joe Biden lied under oath. And it also was extremely damning to him politically, as it showed what the American people see with their own eyes every single day, and that is Joe Biden can hardly speak. And so they gave us the transcript, but that's why they don't want to give us the audio, because it will be more embarrassing for Joe Biden than the transcript itself already was.
Well, but Caroline, it seems now that if this does come out, they need to choose whether to, label Joe Biden incompetent or a liar. I mean, what are the other options?
Well, I personally think that he's both. And I think millions of Americans agree with that. And that's exactly why Joe Biden is the weakest, most incompetent and corrupt president we've ever had, with the lowest approval rating, because people see him lying every single day. He goes out there and pushes lies about how his policies are working. He's also consistently and continually lied about his family's overseas corrupt business dealings. And to think that Merrick Garland has overseen a Department of Justice that has protected the corrupt Biden crime family while he is running around the country using all of these far left deranged prosecutors to go after President Trump for baseless charges is just unbelievable. Merrick Garland is a terrible attorney general, and the American people are the ones that are paying the price for it.
Well, man, did we dodge a bullet with keeping him off the Supreme Court. I want to get to some fundraising stuff. So Trump absolutely smashed fundraising records, obviously, the other day. However, the Biden administration tweeted something out saying that they've raised, almost double what Trump has to date. They have cash on hand and they've done all this stuff. But I'm sitting there thinking back, like, I am old enough to remember that back in 2016, Hillary Clinton's campaign outraised Donald Trump almost 2-1. This is for the campaign, not the PACs, but it was basically the same numbers. So is money really that important, or is it going to be message in 2024?
Money most definitely does not translate to victory. And Joe Biden could have all the money in the world from Silicon Valley and his out-of-touch elitist liberal friends in Hollywood, and it will not be enough to drag him over the finish line on November the 5th. President Trump had a historic haul this past weekend, $50.5 million raised. We see big donors coming to the table every day who realize that this election is a choice between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and it's one we cannot afford to lose. But we are also significantly outpacing Joe Biden's campaign when it comes to small dollar donations. And that's what we love. $4 is our average donation online, because President Trump is supported by millions of hardworking Americans who believe in him and believe in his message to make this country great again.